We have programs that are focused on emerging fields or fields that are continuing to have a high demand, like the IT field. Also STEM related programs as well. So I appreciate the fact that Congress moved quickly to expand funding for those programs. One of those programs is the Vet Tech program, which is a 5-year pilot program focused on helping veterans to get into high demand occupations in the IT field. And they actually expanded funding from that program. It is a very popular program, and we basically went from 15 million to 45 million for that program, which is pretty awesome for Congress to do, to be able to support more veterans in that space. Also, they expanded that program to allow transitioning service members in. As you know, many transitioning service members are thinking about what's next for me before they get out. So to know we were able to offer this kind of program to someone is just it's a pretty great deal. Another provision I would state that's really important is when it comes to the monthly housing allowance. You know, in the space of post 9/11 GI Bill, not only do we pay the tuition and fees for individuals, but we also give them a monthly housing allowance. So it's important that we know, that our students are continually enrolled and that we have checks and balances in place. So we actually rolled out a new feature for monthly verification for those students via text message. So the Vet Tech pilot program is a 5-year pilot program, and it was actually enacted under the Colemary Act that was passed back in 2017. Another piece of legislation that has a very long name, and we shortened it to Colemary Act. And basically what it says in that particular provision was, hey, VA, you can now run programs in these short-term certification programs and also be able to help veterans find employment in the field they trained in. We traditionally have not been in that business. We really have relied on other agencies or private sector to help us with employment aspects for our students when they complete their program. Most people also know the GI Bill as, going to school for a traditional 2-year or 4-year degree, right? Associate's or a bachelor's degree, or maybe even a master's degree, a higher level, graduate level degree. But this said, what they notice is that in the market, that there's a lot of companies out there that are saying they have a shortage of having the right skill set with that IT background. And all they really need is a couple certifications, a couple of courses to get there. So we were able to approve programs, education programs that basically run from 6 to 12 weeks. And they basically train folks up, get them certified, and they are required to actually help them find employment in the field they trained in. I will tell you, on average, we see folks complete their programs in about 12 weeks. After they've completed their program in about 60 days, they've actually secured employment. And the average salary for these folks are $60,000. I mean, tell me how many fields that are out there that you can go to school for a couple of weeks and then come out with, making $60,000. It's a pretty amazing program. So we've seen a high demand of individuals who say 2-year, 4-year school is not for me. And they've really gravitated towards this Vet Tech program. So basically, the student receives a monthly housing allowance every month based off of the time that they're spending in school, whether that be part-time, 3/4 time, or full-time, basically based off of their course load, right? And we give them a monthly housing allowance off of that. So basically, the intent of this was to basically ensure that schools are still enrolled into their program and that there's no changes to their program. We wanted to be able to make any necessary adjustments quickly if there was changes to their program, so we can quickly get notification out to students about any changes in their monthly housing allowance, as well as to prevent any overpayments for students. You go to school, you really are trying not to incur any major costs. So it was important for us to try to put those checks and balances in place in order to be able to verify that information quickly and pivot to make adjustments to anyone's enrollments that's needed. So that way they don't incur an unnecessary debt. I am grateful for the feedback from our students and from the academic community. They wanted us to be more proactive in terms of reaching out and touching them in different venues. No one's waiting around for a letter to come in the mail of information or finding out a new legislation has passed and how it impacts them. So we definitely leverage venues such as these, interviews with you all, to be able to get the word out. And we're so appreciative of that partnership. Also, we leverage social media. Social media has been key to us. We have a dedicated Facebook page in which we share information. I will tell you, we do a number of posts every single week, especially with Eisenstein Row that just passed. I feel like every day we're putting out something to remind individuals of the changes that have come about and what's happening in our space. We leverage Twitter as well. The organization has a Twitter account as well as Instagram. But we also, we leverage, beyond that, we do direct email campaigns to our students and our schools. It's critical for us to have a strong partnership with our schools, because I will tell you, most of the time our students are interacting with their schools more frequently than they are VA. I always say in several forums, I feel like the school officials are the front line for us. Sometimes the students mistake them for VA employees. So it's important for us to have a strong bridge between VA and the school officials to be able to get the word out about the program. So all that to say is partnerships and social media have been really critical in us developing a robust campaign strategy to be able to get information out there about the GI Bill program. Go to our website in terms of the va.gov website there. On there you have, in particular, it's va.gov/GI Bill, in which we have dedicated information on there. We are continually updating that information. And then another place I do tell folks they can call us. We actually have a dedicated education call center that's all they do is answer issues about education. We have nearly 400 agents answering calls. Our wait times are less than 3 minutes. In terms of to get a hold of somebody. And that number is 188 GI Bill 1 in order to reach out to someone in our call center as well. For the last 77 years, the GI Bill program has evolved in so many ways. I mean, think about 77 years ago in 1944, when legislation was passed for the very first GI Bill. It was all about, helping veterans or service members coming back from their military time to really transition. And we would give them a stipend, a monthly stipend. And fast forward 77 years later, and we do so much more. So I always tell individuals, make sure you reach out to us, make sure you stay connected to us to find out how this program has evolved, what you're eligible for. Sometimes folks will talk to their buddy and say, hey, I heard this from my buddy, so maybe it's not for me. I say, make sure you are in the know and understanding what's happening with the program. Stay connected with VA. And if you think you're eligible for something, apply. And let us be the ones to tell you whether you're eligible or not. This program is really amazing. It really is an investment, like I said, not only on our military community, but on our nation as a whole, and has given back, 100 times over. And I'm looking forward to seeing, the next couple of years and what it brings in the GI Bill space.